here at the Archway Gate. This particular gate was built in 1937.
Well, we started our Archway Gate, which is the entrance into Yesteryear Village. As they come into this building where we are right now, which is the Bink Glisten. And the Bink Glisten Museum is just a whole collection of old-fashioned things that were used back 50 or 100 years ago. And so they come in and they sit down and we talk a little bit about what life was like 100 years ago before electricity, and the fact that electricity was a new invention that people had to figure out that they wanted to buy or not. They've got electricity, what do you do with it? You have to figure out ways to sell it to people. And so the first thing they invented was lights. That's right, the electric light.
Today we got to visit the past. We learned how our ancestors used to live. We visited a one-room schoolhouse. We learned that they had one teacher. The teacher was the principal. The teacher was the disciplinarian. She taught one class of different age students, 1st grade through 6th grade.
Good morning, class. Good morning.
When the schoolhouse was built, it was built for the community of Loxahatchee Groves. And it was used by the community and school children for many years, and later it became obsolete and they didn't need the schoolhouse anymore. That's how all of our buildings got out here. When they came out, the buildings were brought out here because they were going to be torn down. So they were brought from their original places of being built out here to become part of our museum. Today the children got to see a blacksmith working. They got to meet a horse.
I learned a lot about the past and about blacksmiths and about horses.
And a real Florida cow hunter, which some people call cowboys, but they like to call themselves cow hunters because they go out and hunt the cows out of the trees and the bushes. They heard a little bit about cow hunting and about how to crack your whip to move the cattle along. Then we went over to the telephone building, and that has all the old telephones in it, so the children can learn about rotary dials and when people used to make a phone call and the operator would say, "Number, please."
Well, a tour like this today, they can see how you used to have to dial the phone. Most of them don't even know what a dial is on a telephone. They try to punch the numbers through the holes, and many of them want to know how many apps is on it. And they can see the difference in how we used to have to use the phone in the old days and the difference now.
They went down to the church for a few minutes. They got to try out the pump to see how you actually pump water before you had electricity pumping water into your house. And they went over to the fire station and took a look at some of the old fire trucks. When the firemen had to actually hand crank it up, and those ladders, they had to crank the ladders up and they had to crank the siren to make it go. So they got to experience a little bit of that too.
We did a lot of things and we learned a lot from the past.